Most electric skateboards look amazing on day one. The lights work, the remote feels smooth, the wheels are clean, the battery says full. But 6 months later, the real story starts. Some boards lose range fast, some belts snap again and again. Some brands stop answering when parts fail, and some boards still ride like they were built for daily use. This list is not about the flashiest board or the cheapest board. It is about 5 electric skateboards that have the best chance of lasting when the road gets rough, the miles add up, and the hype is gone. The important test is simple. Could a normal rider keep using it after the first exciting week? Could parts be found when something wears out? Could the batteries still make sense after many charge cycles? Could the board handle ugly streets without feeling weak? That is the filter for every board in this countdown. Number 5. Backfire Zealot X2. The Backfire Zealot X2 earns the first spot because it fixes one of the most annoying problems on many electric skateboards. Belts, a normal belt drive can feel great. It gives strong pull. It can be smooth. It can also wear out, collect small stones, slip, snap, or need regular changes if the rider uses the board hard. That does not mean belt drives are bad, but for a rider who just wants to ride more and repair less, belts can become the small problem that keeps coming back. That is why the Zealot X2 matters. Backfire built this board with a gear drive. For a normal rider, this is not just a spec, it can change the week. A belt problem can turn a simple ride into a walk home. A gear drive does not remove every risk, but it removes one common wear item from the daily worry list. That gives the board a tougher, cleaner feel for daily riding. The power moves through gears instead of exposed belts. For a board that wants to be used often, that is a serious point in its favor. Backfire lists the Zealot X2 with a 14 S2P Samsung 50S battery pack, rated at 504 watt-hours. That is not the biggest battery in this list, but it is a strong pack for a street-focused board. It also uses a smart BMS, which helps watch over the battery system. The motors are dual 6360 units, and Backfire lists them at 1500 watts each, with higher peak power. So this is not a small toy board with big marketing words. It has real parts behind the name. The deck is also built more like a long-term commuter board than a weak budget board. It uses a mix of glass fiber, maple, and composite material. That matters because a board that flexes too much, cracks too early, or shakes your feet badly can feel old long before the battery dies. The Zealot X2 tries to sit in the middle. It is not a giant all-terrain machine. It is not a tiny campus board. It is a strong daily street board with a serious drivetrain. But here is why it is only number 5. Backfire gives a 6-month warranty on its electric skateboards. That is not terrible in this market, but it is not as strong as the higher boards on this list. If we are talking about boards that actually last, support matters. A strong board is good. A strong board with longer support is better. There is also the water problem. Backfire is clear that its boards are water-resistant, not waterproof. The company warns riders not to ride in rain, wet ground, or standing water. That warning is not small. Water can hurt the battery, ESC, motors, deck, and bearings. And in this world, water damage is usually not covered. So the Zealot X2 is not here because it can survive anything. It is here because the gear drive, Samsung 50S battery, strong deck build, and Backfire parts support make it a smart choice for riders who want a board that does not feel fragile. Number 4. Tynee Explorer. The Tynee Explorer is the board for riders who want long range without jumping straight into the most expensive side of the market. On paper, the Explorer has one of the best value stories in this list. Tynee offers it with large battery options, including a 12 S4P Samsung 50S pack, rated at 864 watt-hours. That is a major jump over many street boards. It means the board does not have to work as hard every time you ride, and that matters more than most riders think. A small battery that is pushed hard every day can age faster. A bigger pack has more room. It can carry the same rider the same distance while using less of its total charge. That does not make it magic, but it can help the board feel useful for longer, especially for riders who do real miles. The Explorer also has something many cheaper boards do not have in a clean way: parts. Tynee sells replacement batteries for the Explorer and Explorer Pro. It also has parts categories for belts, motors, ESCs, remotes, trucks, decks, wheels, and more. That is a huge part of lasting, because the truth is simple. An electric skateboard does not last because nothing ever breaks. It lasts because the parts can be fixed, changed, and bought again. A board with no parts support is not a long-term machine. It is a ticking clock. The Explorer is also built for all-terrain use. That means it can use larger wheels, and larger wheels help protect the ride. This matters for people who do not live beside perfect roads. Many riders deal with broken pavement, small stones, rough paths, and surprise cracks. A board that can roll over that mess without shaking itself apart has a better chance of staying in the rider's life. Small, hard street wheels can send every crack and stone into your feet. Big pneumatic wheels roll over bad ground with less pain. That also reduces stress on the rider and can make longer rides feel safer. But this is not a free win. More range and bigger parts mean more weight. The Explorer is not a light board you want to carry upstairs every day. It is a serious longboard. It is better for riders who want comfort and distance, not riders who want the smallest board possible. Tynee also gives a 6 to 12 month warranty depending on the board and part. That is stronger than some budget brands, but still not the longest in this countdown. So the Explorer is not number one because warranty and premium builds still matter. But at its price level, it is hard to ignore. The main reason it belongs here is not just battery size. It is the full ownership picture. Big battery, known cell options, all-terrain comfort, viable replacement parts, clear model support. That is what keeps a board alive when the first year is over. Number 3. Evolve Diablo Bamboo All-Terrain. The Evolve Diablo Bamboo All-Terrain is the board for the rider who wants a premium all-terrain machine from a brand that has been in this space for a long time. This board is not trying to be the cheapest. It is not trying to be the smallest. It is trying to feel like a real vehicle under your feet. Evolve lists the Diablo Bamboo All-Terrain with an 864 watt-hour Samsung 50S battery. It lists up to 50 kilometers or 31 miles of all-terrain range. It also lists a top speed of 50 kilometers per hour or 31 miles per hour. The motors are dual 6374 units, rated at 3500 watts each. That is serious power, and it changes the way the board feels on hills, grass, dirt, gravel, roads, and paths. But the big reason this board belongs in a list about lasting is not just speed. Speed is easy to sell. Long-term support is harder. Evolve has built a name around service, replacement parts, and rider support. That matters with a premium board because premium boards are not cheap to repair if the brand disappears. The Diablo line also has a serious parts ecosystem. Motors, remotes, wheels, chargers, belts, tires, tubes, trucks, and service parts are part of what makes the brand easier to keep alive over time. The bamboo deck is also important. A stiff carbon board can feel fast and sharp, but bamboo gives a different kind of life. For daily riding, comfort is not a luxury. It is part of durability. When the deck and tires absorb some of the road, the rider is less tired, the board feels less harsh, and the whole ride feels more controlled. It has flex. It can soften rough roads. It can make long rides easier on your legs. That matters because a board that beats up the rider does not get used every day. And a board that does not get used becomes a very expensive shelf item. But do not confuse premium with indestructible. Evolve is clear about water. The Diablo has improved sealing, but it is not waterproof. Evolve tells riders to avoid rain and puddles. It also warns riders to dry the board before charging or storing if it gets wet. This is one of the biggest truths in electric skateboards. Water is not a small detail. It is the silent board killer. Battery care is another key point. Evolve advises storing the battery around 40 to 50% charge for longer storage, not full and not empty. That advice is important for every board in this video. A good battery can still be ruined by bad habits. So why is the Diablo only number 3? Because it is expensive, heavy, and not the best fit for every rider. If someone wants a simple street board, this may be too much. If someone wants the cheapest long-term ride, this is not it. But if someone wants a strong all-terrain board with premium parts, a real support system, and a proven brand behind it, the Diablo deserves a serious look. Number 2. Acedeck Nomad N3. The Acedeck Nomad N3 is the range monster of this countdown. Some boards are built to be easy. Some are built to be light. The Nomad N3 is built to go far, pull hard, and handle rough ground without feeling scared. It is the kind of board that makes normal electric skateboards look small. Acedeck lists the Nomad N3 with up to 90 kilometers or 56 miles of range when using the gear drive 1554 watt-hour setup. That is a huge number in this world. Most riders will not get the perfect listed range in real life because speed, rider weight, hills, wind, tire pressure, and road surface all change the result. But the size of that battery still matters. A pack that large gives the board a much bigger safety margin for long rides. The Nomad N3 also uses Acedeck Gear Drive 4.0 with belt drive options as well. Gear drive is a strong point for long-term riding because it removes the exposed belt problem. No belt snapping on the way home. No belt slipping when dirt gets in. No belt changes every time the board starts making noise. It is not maintenance-free, but it is a cleaner setup for hard use. Acedeck also lists a 145 amp ESC, up to 60 kilometers per hour or 37 miles per hour top speed, and 7-inch pneumatic all-terrain wheels with CNC aluminum hubs. It also lists a 150 kilogram max load. These numbers tell you what kind of board this is. It is not made for a slow 5-minute ride around the block. It is made for riders who want power, range, and rough road confidence. The 7-inch tires matter more than people think. Tires are not just about comfort. On a powerful board, tires are also part of control. They touch the ground first, take the hits first, and decide how much grip the rider has when the road gets loose or uneven. Cheap small wheels can make a strong board feel nervous. Tires protect the board from impact. They smooth out roads. They give better grip on loose surfaces. They can help the rider stay more stable when the road gets ugly. If a board is going to last, it should not feel like every crack in the road is trying to break it. Acedeck also sells parts for its boards, including gear drive parts, belts, batteries, motors, ESCCs, trucks, remotes, wheels, and lights. Again, that is the real test. Big specs are one thing. Being able to keep the board alive after hard use is another. But the Nomad N3 has one clear problem. It is not a beginner board. It is big. It is heavy. It is powerful. It can go fast. A rider who has never used an electric skateboard should not look at this as a toy. This is the kind of board that needs respect. The weight also makes it harder to carry. If you live upstairs, ride short trips, or need to take the board inside stores, this thing may become annoying fast. That is why it does not take number 1. It may be the strongest range machine here, but the best long-lasting board is not always the biggest one. It is the board with the best mix of build, support, parts, and long-term confidence. Number 1. ONSRA Velar 2.0. The ONSRA Velar 2.0 takes the top spot because it feels like a board built around long-term ownership, not just a fast spec sheet. A lot of brands can write big numbers. Top speed, range, motor power, hill climb. But the Velar 2.0 stands out because ONSRA puts serious focus on CNC construction, a strong 14S platform, premium parts, and warranty confidence. ONSRA has also stated that its CNC parts and board platform are backed by a 4-year warranty. In the electric skateboard world, that is not a small thing. A 4-year promise tells the buyer something. It says the brand is not only trying to win the first sale, it is trying to stay attached to the product after the first season, after the first set of tires, after the first few hundred miles, and after the first year of real use. That is what actually last means. The Velar 2.0 also gives riders the choice between belt drive and gear drive. This matters because different riders want different things. Belt drive can be smoother and easier to tune with wheel and pulley changes. Gear drive can be cleaner and tougher for riders who hate changing belts. A board that gives both choices is not forcing one answer on every rider. It lets the rider choose the setup that fits their roads. The CNC parts also matter. CNC construction does not automatically make a board perfect, but it does show that ONSRA is trying to build stronger, more precise hardware. This is where the Velar earns trust. The rider is not just paying for a logo. The rider is paying for parts that are meant to take force again and again, without feeling loose after the first few months. Trucks, mounts, and structural parts take real stress. Every hard turn, every bump, every hill start, and every rough stop pushes force into the board. Better hardware can make the board feel tighter for longer. The Velar is also not trying to be a cheap beginner board. That is both good and bad. It is good because serious parts cost money. Long-term support costs money. Better hardware costs money. If a rider wants a board that feels stable, strong, and premium, the Velar makes sense. It is bad because not every rider needs this much board. A beginner who just wants to ride 2 miles to class may not need a premium machine. A rider with bad roads but no storage space may find it too much. A rider on a tight budget may get more value from the Tynee or Backfire. But for the exact title of this video, the Velar has the strongest case. It is not just about how far it can go on one charge. It is not just about how fast it can run in a straight line. It is about whether the board feels built to be owned for years. Strong hardware, serious construction, drive options, premium support, warranty confidence. That is the full picture. And here is the final truth. Even the best board on this list can die early if the owner treats it badly. Leave the battery empty for months, and you can hurt it. Store it full for weeks in heat, and you can age it faster. Ride through rain, and you can damage electronics. Ignore loose bolts, worn tires, bad bearings, and strange sounds, and small problems can turn into expensive ones. So the real winner is not only the board, it is the board plus the owner. The Backfire Zealot X2 is the street board with a smart gear drive story. The Tynee Explorer is the value long-range pick with strong parts support. The evolved Diablo Bamboo All-Terrain is the premium service network board with real all-terrain comfort. The Acedeck Nomad N3 is the range monster built for serious riders. And the ONSRA Velar 2.0 is the best long-term ownership pick in this countdown. Most electric skateboards look good on day one. These 5 have a better chance of still feeling worth it when the shine is gone, the miles are high, and the road has already tested them.